Peace. What's good, y'all? Peace to the gods, peace to the earths, peace to my black people of the universe. Oh yeah, we up in this bitch. We talking education tonight. We talking doing for self tonight. Oh yeah. Make sure you click the like button upon coming in. I know we've been doing a lot of Patreon exclusives, but this one, I said, you know what? We're gonna let the people on YouTube get this one here in simulcast with my people on Patreon. That's right, we're gonna give the information to the people for free. Woo! Shout out to all my peoples. We just interviewed Shannon Briggs last night. If you missed it, on Patreon. If you're not a subscriber, you better get to it. You can now be a part of those lives, and the lives stay up over there on Patreon. You don't have to wait for the chop ups and all of that. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. We're not here to get on Umar. We just here to show them a little something. That's all we here to do. Oh shit, that's right. I see my final guest is in the house. His lighting looks good. Hopefully his sound looks good. His sound sounds good. I'm gonna trust that it is, and I'm gonna bring him on in a little bit. We have a sequence of how we're gonna run the show, but all my guests are in the house. Woo! I got an educational show. All about doing for self, black education. Peace, family. How you be? Once again, welcome back to You Know What I Mean Godcast. I am Lord Jamar. Shout out to Digger and Godfrey. I let them have off tonight. They were working last night with our interview with Shannon Briggs. That'll be out on YouTube soon, but those of our Patreon subscribers are watching that right now. Shout out to my people on Super Chat. Love y'all. Decatur Q was good. Oh, you like that T.I. interview? Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Thank you. Shout out to Nix33. Said, keep up the great work, big bro. Thank you, sir. I appreciate your patronage. Yeah, so I'm doing this dolo. For those of y'all that have been following the show for a little while, a few months ago, we did a show with Dr. Umar Johnson, whom you know, I love the brother, just like any other black brother. I love the brother. I loved what he had to say. I love what he stands for. But we asked some questions, and his response, was a little I don't know, it was a little perturbing, to say the least. So we felt like I don't know. I offered him help, and I offered him help as far as, I told him my father-in-law basically has done what he was trying to do. And maybe I can connect the two, and he can, garner some information from someone who's already walked the path that he was walking. Well, the brother told me he didn't want any help. He didn't need any information from any elders or anything like that, and got kind of emotional on the show. Maybe I'll play a clip later, but I don't even want to get too much into that right now. I've just prefaced this to say that, so on my journey, I said, well, hey, I know my father-in-law has done this. Along the way, I've met other brothers who have done this. Shout out to the brother Q BUTTA, who's also in Brooklyn, who started his own school. Just recently, a young man by the name of King Randall, you know, I guess he kind of went viral by being on the Roland Martin show and just talking about doing for self of how he started his own school. And then I also have some people here that's going to talk about a financial literacy program that they're doing for children with a sister that I've known for years, Martha Diaz. Shout out to her. So yeah, I just feel like this show could be something that could be helpful for everyone. I think anybody who wants to first of all cares about the future of our children, I think y'all should tune into this show. If you're interested in tactics and ways that you can do for self and implement something like this on your own, I think it'll be valuable to listen to our guest tonight. And hopefully brother Umar will sit down and listen tonight, and maybe he can get something out of this that can help him further his goal, because we want him to achieve his goal. It just seems very slow. With that being said, first up, I'm going to go with the senior of the group, and I'm going to bring my father-in-law to the stage right about now. He has the Trey Whitfield School in Brooklyn. He's been doing this for about 36 years now. Started with some trailers. Well, he's going to tell the story, but he started small, and now he has a big ass building, right in East New York and Brooklyn. So, ladies and gentlemen, I spoke about him to Umar during that discussion, and so it's only right that I have him here now. So, ladies and gentlemen, my father-in-law, AB Whitfield. Pop, you there?
I'm right here listening, and before I get started, that young man who didn't need help, he needs to talk to me. I think he needs help. I can help him. I understand that he may be frustrated because he probably has asked for help. Here's what I think the problem is. He probably has asked for help and never got help. He's probably totally frustrated, and that can happen. He's probably asked for help everywhere and find himself isolated with no help, just a lot of talk and no help. So he probably just resist any suggestion that, oh, I can help you with that. But I promise you, I can help him if you can find him, locate him.
He's got a lot of financial help. As far as brother Umar is concerned, he's got a lot of financial help. According to him, he's raised about $750,000, over the time. But still, there's not anything open and physical. But I don't even really want to pay attention to him right now. I want you to tell I want to tell your story real quick. I want everybody to tell their stories of how they came to be. So how did the Trey Whitfield School come about? From the time that you thought of its inception to the time that you started putting it into activation? How long did it take you to put this in effect, and why did you want to do it?
Okay, well, number one, it started back when I was a little boy. Of course, I was raised with a father, and my fathers were people in education that I met every day in school. My coaches, teachers, strong men. I was just engrossed at how they carried themselves, stature, well prepared, warm and gentle, but strong. And I always said, wonder, wow, that's what I want to be like. So I got that image early on in life. From high school, from college, I went to school and I majored in education. I kind of fell into sports and became very good at it. And so I transitioned from graduating to playing with 9 different teams, from NFL to CFL. But my passion was also with education. How can I give back and help? And how can I give back what was given to me? That was always in the back of my mind. So when I retired from football, my first job was education, and I came back to Brooklyn, and I purposely went around to all the districts, and I talked to district superintendents. I said, I want to go to the worst district in the world. I want to go where they really need me, where they're really hurting. And the guys, are you crazy? No, I want to go to where there's problems. I think I can help. And so I fell into District 13. There's some schools in 13 that was running amok, and I knew I could help.
And what is District 13? That's East New York, Brooklyn?
Yeah, no, it's Bed-Stuy, Fort Greene.
Bed-Stuy, Fort Greene. Okay.
Mm-hmm, yes. They had 265 sand junior high school, turning cars over. We don't take your hat off in school. I said, show me that school. Give me that school. And when I went into school, the principal was hiding in the corner, little Jewish man, scared to death, but he had a job, didn't care. I said, let me have them by myself. Bring them all to the auditorium. And I introduced myself as, hey, I'm a guy who was told that you guys are not worthy of me being here, can't achieve, negative, all over, whatnot, but I believe in you. Of course, they got quiet right away. I said, and by the way, young man, can you please take your hat off for me? I lowered my voice. Can you please take your hat off for me? And that guy took his hat off, and after the guys, each one in a row, took their hats off. Then I, at the end of the auditorium, introduced myself. I said to the principal, I said, bring the 2 bad guys to your office. Give me the 2 toughest guys in this building. Bring them to me. Long story short, made friends with them. Gave them my car keys. I said, I hear you guys are turning cars over. Take my car keys out of a brand new Cadillac. And every day I'm going to have you come out there 10 minutes before school is out. You sit in my car and you watch and see that nobody turns another car over, a teacher's car, nobody sit in my car. They couldn't believe I gave them my keys to the kingdom. And I did. That's how I introduced myself to them. Then the biggest problem was in the cafeteria, fights every day, fights in the cafeteria. I'll handle that. Well, we need 4 or 5 people. I said, you only need me. I don't need 4 or 5.
See, now I wish they could see you right now because he had trouble with his camera. But you know, my father-in-law is a pretty big dude, like so. You know, I'm sure this is pretty intimidating to these students too. Your size.
Oh yeah. So, but here's the trick though. The size got him right away. Then I lower my voice and speak. I speak to them like that. You're gentlemen and the ladies with respect. Do me a favor, son. Can you take your tray off the table? Can you do that for me, please? And can you ask the brother over here, take his off too, because you don't want to do that. And then can you tell a little girl to turn around and sit, close her legs, and sit like little ladies sit. You know, so when you approach a child, like first you catch them off guard, then you're consistent with your behavior with them. They're gonna follow suit, and the kids have a great idea who really cares. You can't fool many of them. So after 6 weeks of that, I had them in the palm of my hand. I was from school to school in that district, and every school I would have impact. I changed the culture of the school myself. Not for glory, because I knew I had something to give. And I knew a long time ago, son, that I had a gift. I know I could reach children. Only gift God gave me on this in my whole life was the gift of touching a child and changing a child's attitude and making them feel good about themselves. So after about 18 years with the Board of Ed, changing schools and making sacrifices and not seeing my daughters come home late at night. I took after school jobs. Why? The girls said, Dad, why? But I said, they need me, baby. And my daughters understood I needed to be with these kids because they didn't have fathers. They didn't need love. They didn't need somebody to care for them after school hours. At 3 o'clock in some schools, son, the teachers checked out like they were a track meet. You heard the time clock in succession. Tat, 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 tat. Nobody stayed after school for 5 to talk to a child or to give a hug or see if a child needs some support. Nobody. And I stayed school 6, 7, 8, 9 o'clock at night, 4 nights out of every week for 18 straight years. After that, I said, you know what? I can do better. They don't really help. I said, if I open the school myself in the same neighborhood, East New York, where my daughters went to school, I said, I think I can do better. When I started in Brownsville now, in 19, East New York, they all said it can't be done. You cannot teach kids to read at 3 or 4 years old. I said, let me try.
And what year is this? What year is this?
This is 1983.
Wow.
Okay, it was a preacher at Linden and Vermont, didn't have a clue. A young minister who had a big heart and had an idea how to run a church or school, but had a passion. He had 3 modules that were downsized from Jefferson High School, sitting there going to waste. I said, let me have your modules, and I'll put a school there for you.
And by modules, you mean like those portable trailer type of joints? Those
portable trailers, that's right.
Uh-huh.
They became access because after a while, they stopped even counting Negroes in school after a while. Wait, after that, in the early days, when the white kids were in the area, you had somebody to go home and track why you're not in school. When we became the population, they stopped even counting heads. They didn't care if you're in school or not. That's how these trailers became available. They didn't even count heads after a while. They fudged, and he got that mandated money every year by fudging the roll enrollment. Didn't care if we were in school. That's how we started losing ground. We started losing ground because they didn't care if we were in school or not. And they fudged the scores. So what happens, we got the 3 modules, and we started with the idea that our kids could read at 3 and 4. In 1983, we had over 300 kids, and every kindergarten kid in there was reading before they went to grade 1. Started back to pre-K, every pre-K kid read, to the point that we eventually got on the front page of the New York Times, the school that works. And Clinton, the task force to East New York City. I don't believe kids can read that early. It's impossible. In that area, no. He sent a task force to our school, and they were blown away. The chancellor came with Eva Moskowitz, who run the charter schools down in the city. She came. She was in school with Klein. They were in Stuyvesant together. They couldn't believe what they saw in the newspaper. They had to come and get a first-hand view. And all I said was, you guys sit over there. I'm not going to window dress and call any child you want to and see if they can read or write for you. So I said, boys and girls, this is your chancellor. This is Eva Moskowitz. They don't believe you boys and girls can read. So they call up a couple of kids and say, let's go to the board. They read off the board. They showed me the notebook. So then I said to both of them, I said, now tell me what grade and what age are these kids? And they pondered for a little while, and he said, damn, baby, these are the smallest first grades I ever seen. I said, no, not first grade, but kindergarten and pre-K. They almost fell off the benches. Fast forward, Eva Moskowitz, she stopped politics, and she started the success schools in the city. Multi-million-dollar enterprise where they're taking all the money from funders and the state, and they built an empire. And here we're struggling with no money because we have prayer in our school. For 36 years, we refused to bend and give in to charter schools. They get to $17,000 a year, and we fundraise and raise money to keep our kids in school because we pledge and we pray. And I'm not going to sell out. Our kids and families don't want me to sell out.
Let me ask you something.
To help me don't want me to sell out. Yes.
Let me ask you something, Pop. So how long were you in these trailers for?
We were in there. This is a real trick. We were in the trailers for 18 years.
Wow.
Our young minister died. The young fellow with the big heart died. They put a chump in there as a minister, state minister. And the guy first, he wanted to know who signed the check for the school. I said, no, we signed them, brother. We signed. He wanted a no-show job, and we didn't give it to him. So after that, everything went downhill. Get us off the campus. We didn't make him look good. We didn't give him money. We didn't feed him. So he went to court. We had to leave the premise. The embarrassment in the court was the judge said, wait a minute, give me one reason why you want a good school to leave your property. I'm looking at the New York Times article. I read up on the school. Why would you want to leave your property? They had no answer for them at all. Embarrassing in court. But legally, we had to leave the property because they called it ruining us. We make them suckers leave. They're finished. That same summer, I met a guy with the building in right now. The building was downsized from a social service. The building been laying six years with nothing in it. I called the guy up, some Italian dude. I never saw his face to this day. I said, I need the building. Guy said, how much money do you have? I said, I don't have a dime. He said, son, I don't know. I said, but guess what? I got a gentleman at the bank, Independence Bank, Alan Fishman, who believes in me. He will loan me $3 million on words that I could take that money and make it work. The bank will get a lot of credit for loaning a little school like us $3 million. Plus, I would take that money and refurbish your entire building. And if we lose it, guess what? You got a brand new building. The man sent his property manager to the next day and signed the papers, okay? Fast forward, 5 years later, we bought the building back from him. We own the building.
See, that's the kind of stories that, you know, that the people need to hear, you know. A lot of times you can do a lot with nothing. You can make a lot happen with nothing. And I want that to be the theme. I think that's going to be a running theme of tonight.
If your focus is on the kids, let me tell you something. We've been down to the point we talking about clothes. I simply tell my staff, I said, you're doing the right thing by God's children. If you're doing the right thing, these brothers and sisters, money's going to fall out of the sky. We've been to the point where we're going to make a payroll. I take personal money for the payroll. And some funders send me $250,000. AB, I know you need to hit this. I mean, every sister in that building, and that's in 2001. 2001. I raise every year an average of $700,000 cash to stay open. But people believe in these kids. They believe in these kids. And we're productive. We get kids now graduating from schools like UCLA, Pomona, top engineering student from Notre Dame, Emory, Harvard, Hampton, Morgan State. That's where our kids go to school. More prep school kids than any school in the country we produce. The better high school placements than any school on the East Coast. That's what we do every year. It's documented. It's documented. But no help from our local politicians, the Charles Barons of the world, and the wife, not a nickel, because we don't play ball with them. The two others in jail now, Scampton, a great lawyer politician in jail, Borland in jail. These are local reps who have not given Trey Whitfield not one nickel. One nickel.
Well,
but we survive because we do the right thing.
Well, Pop, you're doing excellent work. We congratulate you. I thank you for coming on tonight.
And I invite your party to come visit me sometime. Please come and take a look.
Oh,
Please
absolutely.
And if you got kids, send them to a place where they be cared for. Where we right in the 75th precinct, where the highest crime rate in the city. And guess what? Not one incident in 36 years. Not one on the property. Not one. It's like a halo over our school.
And you have what's your like a higher college rate, right, of kids going to college?
Oh, please. We have the best we go nursery to 8th grade. We get the best high school placement of any school part in the state. Our grades compared to charter school grades. We have more kids going to prep school, getting about $40,000 per year in prep school than any school in the country. The schools come to recruit our kids from Eastern Europe. Our kids are outstanding. Our boys take the hats off in class. Our boys are gentlemen. Our girls are ladies. That's what we teach them. We teach them compassion, how to be compassionate. I don't teach them football, how to play sports. I want to be good husbands, good boyfriends, good sons, good daughters. That's what we teach in our school. Well, I don't talk football to that. Sometimes they never know I can play. I don't care about that. Right. I want them to be good guys, good husbands, good citizens and stuff. That's what I want kids to be.
Well, listen, Pop, thank you so much for coming through. Love you. Keep doing what you're doing. And we definitely support you here, Pop.
Well, I want you to know, in public, I'm proud of you as a son-in-law. I'm deeply proud of who you are and what you are. And thank you for having me.
Thank you, Pop. AB Whitfield, ladies and gentlemen. If you're just joining us right now, we are we talking to educators, man. We talking to Black educators right now, people who are out here, who have our children's best interest in mind. Up next, Q-Butta, where you at? I don't see. Oh, there you go. Okay. We got another brother from Brooklyn. Okay. We had the OG, my father-in-law, AB Whitfield. But now we bringing in some of the young guns. We're going to pull the young guns out right about now. So now here's another brother from Brooklyn who, man, I guess we just met on IG and A lot of people have had great things to say about this young brother. And so we're going to bring him up right now and let him tell us about his program, how he got started, and what he's got going on. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Godcast, my man, Q Butta. You like that introduction, brother?
Yeah, that was fire. That was fire. We're gonna chop that one up.
Yeah, and see, you know, now that my father, not that he could see me, and not that it matters because it's legal in New York State, but you know, I feel like with Q, but I could light the L up. And, what's good, my brother?
Yo, I'm here, King. Yo, shout out to your father-in-law, man. I was taking notes. Your man, he definitely that business move he did with getting a loan and then and putting a gamble against it, saying like, look, at the end of the day, you can get the building.
Right, you'll just have a renovated building. If I fuck up, then you'll just have a renovated building. That's all.
That's literally how I do my studios, man. Like that's like
And he's been in that building now for about 20 years. Big ass building. You can see it off of Atlantic Avenue. You know what I mean? When you're going down Atlantic Avenue and all that type of shit. But tell the people, because you don't, you know, I'm be honest, when I look at you, you don't look like the typical educator of children.
yeah,
You got fronts in your mouth, you got dreads and shit like that.
gotta have the shades on.
You got your fucking cool ass shades on. Let me see what I'm saying, shades. So yeah, tell me what's your story, brother? How'd you get into this?
I always wanted to pretty much when I was in high school and regular school education, the system didn't make sense to me. I don't really know what I learned in public school for the most part. I learned almost everything from my father, people in the community. My experience in public school was largely troublesome, just about socializing, the cultural differences between the teachers and myself and the people in the building was blatantly established and well known that we're different. And for me, I just was like, it just was something that I wanted to do, and I didn't know how I was going to do it. And as I developed and I created Zyx, and the team I had with created Zyx was always founded on trying to find a way to empower our community, and education has always been the premise to me that to which we're supposed to be building out, the ability to empower our community off of. And somebody get the door, and as the doorbell going off in the background. So I'm summarizing, but pretty much I thought I was homeschooling my children, and I did a video about churches and how they're wasting space, right in the same area, East New York.
Hang on, slow down. You were homeschooling your children. What made you feel like you were qualified to homeschool your children?
Well, the qualifications in New York is just based on being a parent. Like I learned that early on. I remember my fourth grade teacher said that to my mother. What qualifies you to be a teacher? And my mother said, I'm his mother. My job is to teach him. That's my job. And if I don't teach him and get him to a certain level, I got to deal with you. And if you don't do it right, you got to deal with me. And legally in New York, you just think there is no educational standards for which a parent has to have to educate the child. Now, for me, education wise, I did go to school for astrophysics. I dropped out at like 100 credits. I was in the astronomy program, the NASA program with everybody knows Neil deGrasse Tyson, but there were many.
Be glad you dropped out of that.
You said be glad.
Yeah, they lying to you. But go ahead.
Well, that's it wasn't about lying. That's I always wanted to pursue it, like astronomy and astrophysics and engineering, and that's something my pops passed down to me. He was a inventor, and when I was in school, my focus on Black empowerment and what I saw in the establishments of school didn't align together, and I didn't see any way for them to align together. And I was teaching at Brooklyn College. I had a music program I was running out of there. A lot of people know me from Brooklyn, running a program out of there. I got a music studio. Everybody knows my music studio. So at the time I was teaching at Brooklyn College, and so the white folks I was there with, like my methodologies was not in tune with them, and they were pushing a lot of their own ideologies on the children that me as a person who's about Black empowerment I cannot align with. But most people know about homosexuality. That's one thing. but there's a lot of other things that they're pushing on the children that I'm not cool with. And
Like,
one, the educational standards of 33% to graduate or 33% to pass the test, the fact that they're not exposing children to the right cultural understandings of each subject, the focus on the discipline and the need for our community to have certain mastery of crafts in our community. White people don't understand why that is so important, and there's no reason for a white person to understand that. That's for us to be able to sit there and say to a black child, if you don't get your shit together, our community is not going to be able to take care of itself. And you got to be able to look that black child in the face and understand where they are in their life and actually help them get to that space. That's not something white people should even be trying to understand. And I knew that from regular school. And when I was in that program, I saw that. And when I got laid off, the white dude at the time was like, yo, you should start your own program. And that was crazy. You get laid off from a job and the dude is telling you to start your own version of the job. And I looked at him, I'm like, you know what? My queen is pregnant, my wife is pregnant, and I get laid off right now. Whatever, make it happen. So fast forwarding, when I have my first son, I'm like, yo, I'm not, I can't put my child in the regular school system. I'm extremely pro-black. One difference, like one thing I do align with Umar Johnson, and I know it's a difference between many other educators, that our goals with Black empowerment put us in a space where we can't deal with certain people, even down to, like, even with me, like, I only do media like this. I don't do white media. I don't interview I don't talk to white folks. There's no reason to have a discussion about anything with white folks unless I'm buying something from them or getting something I need from them. But when it comes to Black empowerment, there's no reason to have that conversation. So I just did that. And that's something that educators, it's hard to do. For me as an entrepreneur, being, built on myself, that's something that I'm founded on. Like, you got to be able to stand up on your square, and this is what you got to do. And of course, Lord Jamar, let's not forget, I'm a baby of New York, man. What changed my life was learning about 5%ers, Nas, learning about Wu-Tang. And when the first book I read, and the only damn near book I read like 2 books. It was a 5% book and the Spider-Man book till I was like 18. And so I knew, and my father's knowledge and what I was learning about the 5%ers, like, that was very powerful for me. Like, the foundation, you're not supposed to be learning from white folks. You got to take care of yourself. You're supposed to know your knowledge. It built a whole different feel. Like, when they hear us throw the word God around, they don't know how important that was. And like, especially me looking up to your generation and the immediate one above mine, like, yo, nah, like, that has power. We don't have to be Christians. We can do for ourselves, and we're supposed to do for ourselves. And hearing those leaders at the time say this, and then seeing my father be an inventor, but at the same time not really, take on education on his own, for me was kind of confusing. So I'm like, you know what? I just need to do this for myself. So there was no way I could put my son in a white institution or a white-owned institution ran by Black people. It was never going to happen.
So first of all, real quick, how old are you right now?
39.
39. How old were you when you took on this undertaking?
36, 30. No. The undertaking of Zayex, that was at 20. Empowering the community, that's been since I was like 24 years old. I got in a lot of trouble. I had a murder case. I beat my murder case and changed my life. And ever since then, at like 24 years old, I was just like focused on building up the community. And any opportunity I had to express that, I would take that, whether it be, working in some building or doing some nonprofit stuff or doing in the community. Now, when I ended up in Brownsville, where I'm at now, and this is important because just like the gentleman you had, your elder, it's important that class of men pass on and take care of the next generation. And so I was, like I said, Mom Studio, you know that song Big Drip?
Which one?
Big Drip by Fabio?
Yeah.
We recorded that in our studio. You see what I mean? He say my name in the beginning and stuff. So like,
okay,
that's our studio stuff. I was at a different location before this, and I was at war with the landlord. I'm talking about, like, it was about to be guns called. It was really bad. It was a year just of like terrible. And I started doing community events. I started doing an event called Let's Build and Educate Us. And that was like my therapy, because I spent all my money on the studio, and then I started doing community events, and I met an Israelite brother who introduced me to the owner of this building here. And he saw me speak, and he was like, "Yo, Q, I want you to take my space. I want you to put a studio in my space, and you're gonna change the world in my building." Like literally, that's what he said to me when he met me. He's like, "You're gonna change the world in my building." Literally brought me here, said, "You don't gotta pay rent for the first 2 months. Get your studio right." I was doing delivery work. He said, "Quit that job. Get rid of that ugly ass truck. Just get Uber." Like really nurtured. And then his wife is a principal, and she really just took on the next step. Was like, "Yo, I love what you're doing. I love what you're about the community." So they gave me the first floor, and I was like, "Yo, I'm gonna do a homeschooling center in here." So programming, I'm gonna cut one room up. And at the time, I was doing a lot of videos talking about how churches waste space. You know, you just go up Thomas Boylan, you go up Rockaway, you go up Pennsylvania. There's nothing but closed churches. And I'm like, "Yo, if you gave me that space, I could do wonders." The same way your stepfather said, "Yo, just give me a freaking thing in the back."
Yep.
Like if you really about
3
that,
little trailers in the back of the church.
give me a chair in the back of the church with no lights. I'll get lights running. Like I love that. And so he gave me this.
He didn't even tell the story about getting the desks and all that for free, going to the Board of Education and get the desks that they throw out and shit like that, and just collecting these shits from the back of schools and shit like that.
Bro, I'm talking about I done dug in the garbage. I done had people donate stuff. I built this. So when we talk about building, I take it a little differently. Like I built this wall.
He's like, I built for real, for real.
Yeah,
I
I did all the renovations on the first floor myself. That's what started.
Just gotta give you a round of applause.
That's what started my GoFundMe. I was putting this wall up and I was doing it live. And it's funny because one of my first students really put me on the Umar Johnson. He was like, "Yo, Q, you black and you pro-black, but you not conscious pro-black." And I'm like, "Yo, bro, like I done had you working since you were 17. I taught you about this, saved your life, got you here. I'm not pro-black." "Oh, who's this Umar Johnson you talking about?" And when I heard him talk and this different stuff, I just saw the lack of business acumen at the time. And I was like, whatever. And so when I went live with this lady, shout out Marie, I never forget her. She's like, "Yo, make a GoFundMe. I want to help you. It's not fair. We want to help you, want to support you." And that's literally how the GoFundMe started. And then I did an interview. Shout out to Sinetta. Sinetta really put the buzz on the chart for me. Like he pulled me up and did an interview, and people started donating, and parents started coming in, and it literally grew from that room to the whole floor. And it went from just my sons and like 4 other children to we're cruising about like 160 to 170 students around the country. We're in over 40 states.
So wait, tell me the name of your school, your organization, and also how can people, get in contact and donate and all that.
The Xyx Institute. That's a black word too. So every time somebody says Xyx, you're saying a word made by a black person.
Just spell it for the people.
XYAYX. That's the Xyx Institute. You might see Xyx Studios and Xyx Printing. We're a movement, and we have a bunch of different things, and everything's underneath our movement. The institute is part of the movement.
You have a main like website, Xyx.
The Xyx Institute. For the institute is the Xyx Institute.
Is it the Xyx Institute or just Xyx Institute?
The Xyx Institute.
Okay, copy. I just want to put it up on the screen for the people.
And then for the nonprofit, we have Xyx the Movement, which is the mother nonprofit. We're not a school. We're an institute, and we provide the service to parents who are homeschooled. In New York City, I'm not, like, no offense to your step, but when we make schools in New York, the laws are like, not to say like you have to include people. And for me, I don't want to include nobody but black folk. And if I do choose to sue somebody, it's not because you told me to do it. I chose to bring that person in here. Like we only want to deal with black people. I don't really give a damn about nobody else but black people. And that's all I want to see get fixed on right now. That's the focus. That is straight like that. And so my institute is only for people who are of that mind state. And I think the panel you have is so diverse. It's beautiful because you have a regular school that's ran by a black person. You have a super pro-black school. Then you have an independent school, but I believe the brother is he's more of American mindset, where he's just like trying to build a school for the youth that's more modern and urbanized, but it's from an American state. I don't really fuck with American politics. I don't really give a damn about the government. Everything we teach, like my students learn different caliber size. We have Crystal Muhammad from the Black Panther Party teaches with us. BGX teaches with us. We have, I'm trying to get Cynthia G to teach with us. Like everything we do, like is straight black empowerment. The curriculum I created is STEM based, African centered. every piece of it is black. Like every piece of the curriculum is about black empowerment. Like not one piece. And so like that's why I dress like this and keep it like that. Because when the conversation starts, like I know my curriculum backwards and forwards. I know every nut and screw and bolt in my institute. We're about to be expanding into Atlanta. We got 2 locations in Brooklyn. We're now in Bed-Stuy. As soon as the summer hits, we're gonna be bringing programs to Bed-Stuy. We in Brownsville, and this is all through the support of people like yourself in the community. And so, I love it.
Well, yo, hats off, brother. You definitely doing your thing. Um, yeah, we see the work and keep that shit going, bro. You know what I mean? Keep it
Man.
going because it's all about when I first got knowledge, I read books like Message to the Black Man and Supreme Wisdom and one of the resounding things in those books was do for self, you know? And a lot of times we always have our hand out asking somebody, oh, can you make the schools better? Can you do this for me? Can you do that? Can you build the shit for me? Like, you're an example of doing for self. Like, I feel like that for me is the theme here. You know what I mean? Doing for self in order to teach the seeds, teach the future, and being that example that we need to see in our community. So I thank you for that, brother. And of course, we will support you. And if you got things going on, you know what I mean, that you need to promote, just let us know. And, we here, bro.
Nah, definitely. If you in Atlanta, hit us up. If you're a STEM teacher, if you do electrical engineering, if you do mechanisms and structures, if you do environmental sciences. This year, I'm going to be overhauling our program a whole lot. I want to push environmental sciences a lot more from the Black perspective. I'm all about science, like obsessively. Every room is a science lab we have, and every child has to get science all the way down. Shout out to Irene, your vet. She's also a teacher here. She's our social studies teacher, and the curriculum and the time we put into making sure that the curriculum is ever evolving and up to the time so that way the children can get as much information as possible to get them to be in a competitive space so that way we can quantifiably predict where our community is growing. That's one thing I hear with a lot of Black leaders. Like they want to say what their plans are, but you can't quantify their plans. In the times we're in, if you can educate someone over a certain period of time, that gives you an ability to predict what you can do with that person. And if we don't have enough people who are looking at the, the platforms we have to develop the minds and increase the capacity within our community, we're not really talking about leadership and development. And for me, that's what it's about. There's a program you have to do to create your nonprofit in New York to formalize it, and it's about capacity development. And when I hear a lot of leaders talk, unfortunately, they lack. Well, we want to inspire more leaders to promote capacity development. We need our community to be actually be able to do stuff. My goal is making sure all of my students can recognize the components on a circuit. They can get down and understand the different types of code. A lot of people say, "Oh, coding." They don't know the different types of code. They don't know what type of structures they're building. They don't know the importance of the sciences. They don't even know the reason why social studies is important. They're like, "Oh, my child learning social studies." The purpose of social studies is to develop someone who is able to be, like the brother said, can contribute to society in a productive manner. Now, if you have a white person teaching a Black child, how can that child be productive for the Black community? It only can come from Black people who understand that that child is the key to developing the future capacity for our community. And it's an exponential growth. If we're not increasing anybody's abilities daily, we're not increasing anything. And if you do the same thing every day, you don't increase your potential. And so for our community, education is the key to doing that.
Ladies and gentlemen, Q Butter for the Godcast. Check them out. ZyAxInstitute.com. And yeah, come on back, brother.
Anytime, King. Appreciate it, bro.
Thank you, King.
Black power.
Peace. Black power. All right. Rolling right along. If you just joining us, shout out to everybody in the chat. Man, I see a lot of my regulars in the house. Reality 914. I see y'all. All right, well, check it. My next guest, all my guests have been waiting patiently. Thank you. I appreciate it. Um, I want to get everybody, their proper time. My next guest, I think a lot of us got acquainted with him very recently when a clip of him was going around. Well, I saw it on IG, where he was being interviewed by Mr. Roland Martin, and the brother was talking about doing for self, and you would have swore that the way Roland was acting, you would have swore the brother was talking about going outside and just and mass murdering people. I mean, it was crazy. Like he almost seemed upset at the concept of doing for self. But I loved hearing, especially from a 21-year-old young man. As you see, we started with, my father-in-law, older gentleman. Then we got Q Butter, the brother's in his later 30s. And now we've got somebody in his early 20s, all with the same goals. They might be doing it slightly different, but all with the same goal. So listen, with no further ado, I'm going to bring my brother to the stage right now. Ladies and gentlemen, Godcast, welcome King Randall. Now, is it King Randall the first? Is that the first? Or
yes, sir. Absolutely.
Look at him. So you're establishing like a lineage now. You're like,
yes, sir. I have a second, baby King.
Oh, already. Okay.
Yes, sir.
But you ain't calling him Junior. You're calling him the second.
Well, my name is King. You never heard of any king that had a junior. They had a second and a third. So I just went ahead and named him King Randall the second.
I like that. No, that's formal shit. Usually, in the black community, there's a lot of juniors running around.
Absolutely. Yes, sir.
Many people would say, oh, there goes Ricky the second or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, there you go, JJ.
Yep.
JJ's in the hood right now.
Yes, sir.
So it's good to meet you, young man.
Glad to be here.
So let's get acquainted with your story. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit where you're from. Give me a little bit about your background and how'd you get here? How does someone your age start doing what you did?
Absolutely. Well, again, my name is King Randall. I'm 21 years old. I'm from Albany, Georgia. I'm the founder of the X for Boys program here in Albany, Georgia. This program began 2 years ago when I was 19 because our crime rate here in Albany had gotten extremely high to the point where a lot of our young men were being killed just needlessly. And I'd been going to some different community meetings and Stop the Violence meetings, et cetera. But everybody was talking about, what our children need to be doing, et cetera. But nobody was actually trying to get out and work with them. So I'd been offering different solutions, such as, getting out with the children, teaching them a few things, et cetera. But nobody wanted to get out and work with them. So I kind of just distanced myself from all of the talking activists, and I decided to go start doing work. I started doing field trips with young men. I took 20 young boys. The first field trip I ever did, we went to the African American History Museum and the Center for Civil and Human Rights, because our children need to know about themselves, especially our young Black boys. They need to know about their culture and where they're from, et cetera. And so to see these young men for that first field trip, like really ask questions, really wanting to know more, really wanting to get out of their condition, I knew at that moment that's where I needed to be. And so I started working with those children. Then I started teaching them how to do work on cars. I started doing mechanics workshops. I did oil change.
Were you at this time?
I was 19.
Okay.
Yes, sir. And me and my best friend used to fix cars when we was in high school. So I taught them
how to fix cars.
Yeah, YouTube. I got on YouTube and learned how to fix some cars.
Okay.
Yep. YouTube University.
YouTube
So
a lot of shit as well, but go ahead.
yes, sir.
Around the house.
So yep. So I started teaching boys how to change oil. I used my uncle's garage. I brought some young men to my house. I said give them certificates, etc. And the boys started learning how to change oil. I started doing brake change workshops, alternators, spark plugs, etc. Then I graduated into doing simple home construction. My former stepfather started teaching me how to work on houses. So I taught him how to change ceiling fans. We did flooring, crown molding, sheetrock, etc. I was teaching all these boys, all these things during that first year. And I lost my job right before the summertime happened. And when the summertime came, I was like, well, I'm going to do a summer camp because I really want to help, these boys, but I'm going to do it out of my house. So I bought my first house, while I was in right when I got out of high school. And I had the boys here. I had 20 parents that believed in this 19-year-old kid at the time to teach them all these skilled trades, etc. I had got me a little dry erase board. It was about this big. And I bought some dry erase markers and I put it on my wall at home and we made it happen. I taught them every day.
How does a 19-year-old man just buy a house like that? Where you get that money from?
Absolutely. Well, my home where I live, Albany, is the cost of living here is really, really low. So my house is only about $3,000. And my mortgage is only $3,300. So I kind of saved up a little money. And my mom helped me out and I made it happen. So yeah, but my house is fairly cheap, but it's 2,100 square feet. So it's pretty nice. And I have about
square feet for $3,000.
Yeah, $30,000, and my mortgage is $393.
Wow,
it's pretty cheap to live here. If you go look at any real estate here, it's really, really cheap. That's one thing I do love about living here. But I had the kids in my house every day. I have land out here too. So I was teaching them how to grow their own food, etc. So we were doing all of these things for that first summer. I graduated them from my little summer camp on my birthday when I turned 20. And after that, I realized a lot of the boys in the program couldn't read. It was about 12 out of 20 of the boys couldn't read at all. And this was an issue for me. I'm like, how are you guys passing through school and you can't read or write? So I started a book club, and one of our local businesses allowed us to use her business every day when she was finished. We went to book club at her spot every day. We read books. We read Hill Harper's book, Letters to a Young Brother. And we read every day, gave them wisdom, had a lot of black men come in and start just teaching them and talking to them and, helping them out, giving them life skills. We did sex ed, everything during our book club. Then I started a bowling team because I wanted the boys to get into some other sports, because I was telling them, I'm like, it's scholarships in many different sports that we can get into. So why not, try and get into other sports, because these sports make money. So professional billiards, et cetera, all these things, we can make money in. And then fast forward to 2020, COVID happened, and I had to stop everything that I was doing because everything I did was in person, firearms training, etc. All of it was in person. And so I kind of stopped everything, but parents kept asking me, King, can you please do something for the boys? They're getting, back to their old ways. They want to come back and do some stuff with you. So I'm just like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know what's going on with this virus stuff. Just stand by. So, after a while, I called them back and I was like, listen, if I'm going to with the boys, they got to come live with me because I need to monitor where they're going, etc. So they said, okay. And I bought some bunk beds. I put them in my living room and we made it happen. So I had 7 boys live with me for the entire summer of 2020. I taught them all the skilled trades. I mean, we was doing some of everything, changing toilets, we was painting people houses, everything. And it's all on our website too. You can see all our pictures and on my Instagram as well. But we were doing all these things, and I had never really been posting that much on social media like I should have been. And somebody finally was like, King, you really need to start posting what you're doing on social media because it's special. And so I started posting on Twitter and things like that. And one day, us doing some sheetrock made a few rounds on Twitter. And people was like, you guys need to make a GoFundMe, because I had been saying for the past 2 years that I wanted to open the boys a little boarding school. I was like, I want to open you guys a school one day. I don't know how we're going to do it, but we're going to have some big boy faith and make it happen. So we made a GoFundMe and we raised like $10,000 like within the first few days. And after that, after about 3 weeks, we had raised about $50,000. So I went building shopping around the city of Albany, and we found a building that we liked it, but things fell through with it because some of the owners had a few things going on they weren't telling us about, etc., and things fell through. But I knew something else was going to happen for us. So somebody was like, well, did you reach out to the school superintendent and ask if the school system had any old schools that they aren't using anymore? I said, that's a good idea, because I was good friends with the superintendent, because he's allowed the children from the school system to get excuses and stuff to go to our field trips and things like that, because the school system has been a big supporter of what we've been trying to do for our boys. So I called him and I said, hey, do you got any old school buildings that you guys are not using? And he said, well, we got 3 buildings up for demolition. Would you like to tour one of them? And I said, yeah. So I went and toured this building. It's on the side of town where the children need us the most. It's on the side of town where I serve the most children. It's on the side of town right by the projects, etc., where these children need an outlet. I went and toured it. The school is in immaculate condition. They just stopped using it 2 years ago. It's 36,000 square feet, 25 classrooms, 11 acres, cafeteria, library, everything except the basketball gym is there. And so I told them, this is the one that we want. We want to make this happen. So we cut a deal, with it. And right now we're just working out the logistics, because our school system is actually wanting to support what we're doing. And I told them before, I don't want to make an enemy out of that system. I want to be an ally with them, because our entire school board is black. Our superintendent is black, but they want to see, what we're doing have a success. Because we're having an impact on the boys. I also have custody of some children from juvenile court. They live in here with me right now. I have 2 children in my custody from the juvenile court system, because we don't have any rehabilitative programs for any juveniles in the Southwest Georgia area. I'm the only program that I've been running out of my house for the past 2 years that are taking juvenile offenders and trying to rehab them. So we cut a deal with the school system, and we have that building now. And so the school system is going to actually help us. They're going to help provide teachers for our curriculum. And they're also going to allow us to use school buses for our different field trips, etc., because I kept that relationship open. And that's why I believe, we can, use the people that we know in those systems. Our school is private. We won't have any government funding, etc. All they're going to do is help us, with our field trips. They're going to help us with some teachers, etc., to teach the curriculum that we want to teach, with all the life skills, all the skill trades, wilderness training, basic warrior training, teaching them how to shoot firearms, teaching them how to grow their own food, aviation. That we're going to get them some aviation simulators so the boys can learn how to get some flight time. They can get some flight time to go to pilot school if they want to be a pilot. We're going to have professional billiards, professional ping pong, professional esports. The boys have a gaming team where they get paid to play video games. These are the things that we've done in the past 2 years. And I've been instrumental in trying to make sure that my boys have every little outlet, because how Andre 3000 said something so beautiful. He said, how are you going to tell a young man selling's a sin when you're not offering new ways to win? And that's what we specialize in, trying to make sure we care about young black men before they die. While they have that metaphorical knee on their necks, we need to be trying to remove that from them right now, because they're out saying that they can't breathe, but nobody's out there trying to help them. And that's where I stand. I want to make sure we are actually offering new ways to win for these young men, because they don't want to be in the condition that they're in. But that's kind of the story of the X for Boys, and everything that's happened for me and where we come from.
Woo. That's a lot. It's a mouthful.
Yes, sir.
No, excellent work. So wait, how much? So the school that y'all like on the side of town, how much is that? How much is that building going for?
It was going for about 400,000. But we're not paying that price because of what the work that we're doing. We're gonna get it for free.
Wow. I mean, this is the type of shit I'm talking. And how long from inception to execution did it take you?
I started this January of 2019, and we're here in April 2021.
Hey, now I saw you post a video. First of all, let me just say this real quick. I'm not sure why it matters. I don't know if this is a fucking troll in the fucking chat right now, but they're acting like first of all, is your father an FBI agent?
No, my father is not an FBI agent. Tariq Nasheed posted a tweet of my stepfather and I when we were doing a benefit bow tie and sock competition for some youth here in the city of Albany. My stepfather is a police officer in DeKalb County. He's a detective for homicide. He was on the first 48. His name is Detective Hardaway. He had to work with the FBI to
a bunch of these motherfuckers know him if he's on the first 40. Oh, Detective Hardaway, I know him. He's all
so
he's
right.
crime.
My mom married him when I was 16. My mom married him when I was 16.
Okay.
Yeah, my mom married him when I was 16, and I wasn't living with my mom at the time. I was living in Albany, and they were living in Atlanta. But he doesn't work. He isn't an FBI agent. He was working with the FBI at the time, back in 2017. He's not an agent. That's not my real father. And I don't understand why people thought that was my real father. Anyway, this dude is tall. He's 6'4". I'm only 5'7". He's light skinned, curly hair. All that. That's not my dad. And then Tariq Nasheed.
And why it let's just say he was. Does that mean that you can't go and do some positive shit? Like,
what that got to do with me? I'll just like,
if Jamar don't ask, look. If Jamar don't ask about his father being FBI, you know what's up,
right?
As if I'm in on some fucking conspiracy. The fuck out of here with this dumb shit. Like, whatever. I asked him. You heard the fucking question. I don't know about that. I don't really care about that.
Right.
What I care about is so when you were on this Roland Martin show.
Mm-hmm.
And you're talking about the concept of do for self. First of all, this is something that you read. Yes. What autobiography of Malcolm X, as you say?
Absolutely. I love that, brother. Yes, sir.
So that's one of the many books I read as a youngster.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a very Marcus Garvey. You trace that back to Marcus Garvey, basically.
Right.
One of the first people that we hear in North America stress that we do for self, that we have our own shit, whatever.
Exactly.
Shipping lines, fucking, you know what I mean? Like schools, universities, hospitals, farms, do for self.
Right.
Black Nation. That was his thing. And Malcolm X, I'm sorry, Elijah Muhammad came up in that time where he was influenced by people like Marcus Garvey, Noble Drew Ali. So he's internalizing those things and thus putting them into people like Malcolm X, thus putting them into me. And even it's great to see that it's still reaching to new generations.
Right.
How did that message affect? Well, I obviously see how it affected you because it made you feel like I need to do for self. But going on that show with Roland Martin, were you surprised by his reaction to you talking about doing for self? Like, because he's like, what does that mean? Like he had a fucking problem.
Right.
Like I've heard this do for self shit before, and like we slaves in America. Like, what the fuck you talking about being free? Is you crazy, nigga? Like,
right.
I mean, how did you feel? What was going through your mind?
Yeah, well, he originally started attacking me on Twitter. I'm not sure why he was attacking me on Twitter. Like literally, I have no clue why.
Crazy free man talk.
Right, so I shared a video.
Be able to read talk, and the Bible talking about niggas can read.
Right, and so what happened was he shared a video when I was talking about doing for self and called me an idiot. And I was actually a fan of his until he shared that video. I was like, what? I was like, how is that idiotic? So he started bothering me again about the voter suppression thing, and I told him, I'm like, this is not what I don't get into the voting thing. I mean, I vote, but I don't get into, that area. I'm not into politics. I work with children, but he invited me on the show anyway to talk about voter suppression. I got on the show and I said multiple times, that is not my fight. I believe the body has different parts and we work on our different parts. I work with children. Y'all do voter suppression. Leave me alone. And then I said, we should be doing for self. He was like, well, what do you mean about do for self? And I'm just like, this is what I mean. But he thought he didn't vet me before I came on. He thought I was just going to give some theory. No, I gave you stuff that we done, because most people that do sometimes say that be giving theory. Now we got to give the work that we done, in our communities. And he couldn't handle that. Now, I didn't expect that video to go viral. It went viral 2 weeks after the interview even aired. So I didn't expect nobody to pull that clip, and they pulled it and sent it everywhere. I mean, it's been on Snapchat, TikTok, Instagram, everything. And a lot of people have found out about the work, that we've been doing here in the city of Albany. And what's crazy is all these commentators, who do have things to say about me, I don't even respond to them because I do work every day. Like me and my boys just left the gun range today. We was at Six Flags Sunday. We changed 90 car oil changes on Saturday.
What we shooting?
Say it again.
What we shooting? Rifles or pistols?
Multiple. I have about 14 guns. So they were shooting the rifles, shotguns, and pistols.
What's your favorite gun? What's your favorite rifle?
I think I'll say my KS9 assault rifle. It's a Russian made assault rifle. It's shooting 9mm. And I just bought a AR-15 because the boys begged me to. I'm not really a fan of ARs, but they begged me to get one. So I have an AR-15 now. Then of course I have a tactical shotgun. That's one of my favorites. It shoots 10. It got a 10 round mag. It's called a KS-12. It's another Russian made gun. It's a tactical shotgun. I love it. My favorite pistol would definitely be the TP9 SFX Canic. It's beautiful. I love it. It shoots really good. And it doesn't have a lot of kickback either, but it holds 18 rounds as well. So I definitely love that to carry. But I do have a few weapons. I'm not gonna name them all, but those are some of my favorite
tactical ranges and shit like that, where you're moving, you're not just standing in the fucking shit like you're like.
We don't have any of those type of ranges where I live, which I plan to create one for my boys because we do want to do a maneuver under fire course at our school.
There you go.
So we'll move them out to some land that we're probably about to purchase, and we're gonna make an actual outdoor gun range there for us to do maneuver under fire courses, etc. Basic warrior training.
Right. Nice. Man. Listen, I saw you before I let you go. I saw you put up a post where you're like, listen, a lot of people's posting, about Umar Johnson, and I'm not here to bash Umar Johnson. Listen, I'm not here to bash him either.
Right.
I had him on my show. Just recently, though, made a video saying I lost respect for Lord Jamar.
Really?
He lost because he believes I'm a hater. I'm haters. But really, I'm just a truth seeker. I'm looking for answers. I feel that even if I'm not donating, if I'm considering donating, certain questions I should be able to ask. I just feel like that's reasonable.
And one thing about our school, we're going to remain transparent. I understand, the things people have, said and the questions they have had for Dr. Umar, but I just don't want that tied to me. I'm just like, listen, I'm doing my thing. Y'all go fuss at him over on his page. But my thing is we're going to remain transparent. The moment we start working on the school from beginning to end, you will see everything we're doing. When we're going to buy some paint, you're going to see me and the boys working on our school, including the construction workers. You're going to see every little moment that we're working on our school because we're proud of it. Like if I'm proud of what we, accomplished, especially me and some teenagers been doing work and we was able to go get us a school, that's where I stand. I'm just like, let's show the world. Like we want to put up pictures of us painting and we want to put up, videos of us pulling up flooring and putting new floors down, putting furniture in the school, all of that. I want to show that. That's something to be proud of, not hiding it from people. I definitely want to remain transparent, especially if people are donating, because that if anything, that keeps people donating because they see where their money going. And see, again, people are more attracted to what I do because I'm constantly working with kids. They literally live with me every day. So people always see me posting stuff that we're doing on the field trips we going on, the stuff I'm teaching them. They see this all the time. So I have no need to go back and forth with commentators because they can't argue with work. Talk gonna be lose the work every time. So that's where I am.
I want to cut you off. I'm just saying, by you being transparent, right? And by you doing everything you're doing, you're inadvertently making the brother look bad.
Right.
Okay. Because here's the thing. You're only 21 years old. He's been doing this for 6 years. He's admittedly got $750,000 in donations. And in that time, he still has not been able to produce the thing that he says he's trying to produce. This is not hatred. This is just facts being stated. Now, in 2 years' time, you've been able to, by leaps and bounds, surpass what this man has been, with less money, with less resources and all of that, been able to surpass what this man has been doing. And you're doing it in a way that he refuses to do it in, which is with transparency. So just by you doing what you're not trying to make him look bad, but it makes him look bad. And
yes, sir. I understand.
It just does. Like, it's just, that's how it is. And I'm not trying to make him look bad. I'm just saying, do better, brother. Like, don't let your ego get in the way. Understand that the seeds are the best part, not you, not Prince Fatunde. It's not about you. It's about the seeds. So if you might have all the clinical psychology strategies in the world, but it appears that you're a bad businessman, brother. It appears you need help in that realm. And if I see somebody that, I don't care if you're younger than me, if you got knowledge in something that I don't have, each one teach one, brother. I'm sure there's
absolutely
man who could teach me about Russian guns that I don't fucking know. And I'm going to sit there like a student. I'm 52 years old. And I'm going to sit and listen to a 21-year-old man, as long as you show him proof that you know what you say you know.
Absolutely. We always have to remain students at all times.
That you really know it. Hey, I'm there. But certain people don't know how to humble themselves, and I think that's the problem that my brother is having. So I'm hoping at some point he'll look past his ego and look past, because this is all being said out of love, bro. We want you to succeed, but you're not going to succeed the way you're moving. I'm just letting you know that now. But we want you to succeed, Umar. So you can be disappointed all you want, but I'm disappointed that you're allowing your ego to get in the way. But listen, brother, more power to everything you're doing. Where can what's the website and all that? You got a website?
Yes, sir. It's the xforboys.org. You can go there to see all of our pictures, all of our everything that I've taught the boys for the past 2 years. You can go there and see. You can go see our promotional videos. You can go see some things about me, some of the marches I've done for Black men, etc. It's the X for Boys. It's THE at the beginning, but it's the xforboys.org. But you can go there to see how to volunteer. Also ask questions. You can go there to ask questions and things like that. The website literally has everything on there, down to our social media pages, how to order some of our merchandise, etc. And like I said, I definitely appreciate you even bringing me on this evening. And definitely I appreciate everybody supporting in the chat. I appreciate everybody. It's overwhelming support that I've been receiving for the past week or so. So it's been beautiful, and I definitely thank everybody for all the support.
I mean, you deserve it, bro. You're young, and you're leading by example. And that's what we need out here. Hang on a second. Let me just real quick do a quick share. And
somebody talking about yep, that's our website. Yep, that's me and the boys.
Okay, that's what's up. Well, go check them out, the xforboys.org. And yeah, Albany, Georgia. See, the capital of New York is Albany, New York.
Yep. We putting Albany, Georgia on the map now.
Yeah, I never heard of no Albany, Georgia, but there you have it.
Yeah, we want to make sure you're hearing about it in a good light.
Absolutely. Well, brother, listen, if you got, things to promote in the future, just come by, let us know.
Yes, sir.
You're definitely a friend to the show.
Absolutely. And I would love for you to even come down whenever we do the grand opening. We plan to open for instruction in the fall. And we plan to open the boarding portion of the school in about a year because we have to work on their sleeping quarters, etc. But instruction will more than likely begin this fall. And I would definitely love for you to even just come show up, come down, come teach something, whatever you got.
Absolutely. I'm with it.
All right. Well, I appreciate y'all.
Ladies and gentlemen, King Randall the First podcast. Thank you, brother.
Yes, sir.
All right. We moving and grooving. All right. So my brother says there's somebody in the chat who's a doctor who, man, we had a lot of people already lined up. Dr. Ma'at, we might have to get back to you. Because I've had two brothers here that's been waiting quite patiently since the beginning of the show. They're not they don't have a school necessarily, but they are teaching financial literacy to our children. So let me just say, MC and educator, director of pedagogy at Pockets Change, a hip hop and finance organization for youth. Their mission is to change how they talk about money. They've partnered with Spondulix.org, a financial literacy streaming channel, and hiphopcu.com, a hip hop education platform founded by Martha Diaz, my homegirl, to make the first hip hop financial fest. That's hiphopfinfest.com, where they have performers, educators, and a contest for the youth to make songs that tell the real story of our relationships with money. Listen, financial literacy is something that all our seeds need to learn. So I said, you know what? This is something to add on to this show that I'm talking about, education. I said this would be great to add on to that when these brothers got in contact with me. So right about now, I want to bring to the Godcast Dialect and Louis Blaze.
Peace.
Welcome to the Godcast.
Peace and love. It's an honor to be here.
Thank you, brothers. How you be?
We're well. Breathing in the O2, out with the CO2. You know how it goes.
Yeah, mask off. I'm raw dog in this air, baby. I'm raw dog in the air. What's good, brothers?
God is good. Life is good. Purpose, passion, peace. It's crazy. I just really want to commend you for this amazing episode. Actually, off back with brother AB Whitfield, right, and Q Butter, right, and the young brother King Randall that just left, and really showcasing how we are out here changing the narrative, right? Because so many platforms exist. And there's been this picture that's been painted that young black men either get into athletics, right, or get into music, right, or hit the blocks, right. But we are doing new things. We are changing our perspectives now. We are enlightening ourselves. We're understanding our birthrights. I feel like we're understanding our birthrights.
Yes.
One, I am valuable. You are valuable, right? Number one, right? Number two, right? I am important. You know, we're understanding these birthrights. I am powerful, right? And these different things. And I think that's so important. That's why I just been so filled up from just waiting in the backstage, just listening to the information and finding the inspiration. I'm 23 years old. I'm born and raised in the Twin Cities of Minnesota. I'm right here in the backyard of everything that happened last year with George Floyd. And I feel like last year to now, I'm not the same person anymore. I have transformed. I'm totally different, and I'm changing for the better. Though I'm getting more strategic. I'm understanding that like the definition of power is the ability to take a thought and then turn that into action. Right? Like no longer will we just sit. Like what is a sit in? Right? Anything could sit. Word to brother Malcolm X in the Ballad of the Bullet. Anything. It's time for us to start standing up and start doing some action and changing our thought patterns and the way we behave out here and doing it for our power, for our unity that is so sacred. Right? And I just really love that I ended up in this conversation just off relationships, right? To your point about relationships and needing to seek knowledge. I graduated from high school for Recording Arts at St. Paul. They changed my life. They put me on a plane for the first time. I just got off a case and everything. And then I was able to get flown to places like Harvard University and Stanford and talk at talk at conferences and things like this and network. And then I met Sister Martha Diaz at a function we was doing, the hip hop pedagogy function, performed and everything. And ever since I met her, sister been A1, been 100, and she always hit me up for new opportunities. And she just hit me recently for me to feature on a track about financial literacy, right? Like, so it was just crazy how relationships work. And I'm the founder of my own organization. It's called the N4 Collective. That stands for New Mindsets, New Media, New Leaders, and New Narratives. And that's N to the fourth power. And at the N4 Collective, we believe that we all are born with those birthrights, and we should protect humanity and protect nature, right? And preserve these things. And we must understand that we must strive for freedom and no longer live in fear. So that's who I am, man. That's where I come from. And I just wanted to commend you for this show, man. The Lord Jamar, you always have been a hip hop legend. I came across you a few years ago in New York at the Gordon Parks Gala. It was
Yeah.
I was walking in the footsteps of Gordon Parks with Sister Robin Hickman, and we flown out there with her to meet Brother Jamal Shabazz and everything, and it was super dope, and that was something that was changing my life at the time. So I just understand that everything happens for a reason, and I'm here, I'm alive, man. Peace.
Facts.
Yeah, get that.
Facts.
Thank you, Young Blood, for having all of that. I want to give props to what King Randall was saying about the body has different parts and we all have different functions in the things that we're doing. Even with Louis and I, we're connecting for the first time, jamming on this. I've been an MC. I'm not 23. I'm an old head too. I've been rhyming for more than 15 years. I'm an MC, educator, playwright, kind of do it all at once. I have a tendency to make one-person plays that are also rap albums, that are also educational curricula, that I will often bring back home to St. Croix in the VI. I grew up in St. Croix in the USVI, one of the territories where I know we're not Puerto Rico, we're not quite as big, but we also are taxed without being represented. We don't get to vote for nobody's president or anything like that, but we still exist. We're real people. The VI is a thing. And about what we do is we're doing, because I've been listening to what the other brothers have been talking about. It's been really important. What we do is triage. The part of the body that we're doing is we're making sure where the blood is coming out, we stop that. You were talking about financial literacy, and financial literacy is very important. That's about us overstanding. But what we teach with my organization that I work with, I'm the director of pedagogy of Pockets Change, and Pockets Change is about financial resilience, where we can overcome. Because
whoa, real quick, the fuck is pedagogy?
Yeah. No. That's what's up.
A bunch of people is like, what the hell is he talking about?
First of
We've
all,
heard the word, but let's not let words just fly over our heads. Let's make sure that understanding is understood. So let's say the word correctly. First of all, pedagogy. How do you say it?
Pedagogy.
Now, the meaning of pedagogy is,
it's how you do your thing. I'll try to keep it real simple with it. Pedagogy is a little bit different from your methodology. Your methodology is when you look at, as an educator, right? When you look at a curriculum and you look at the way that it's paced out, and you've got this happens here, and then we do the debrief, and then we got the rubric where we're judging the students. That's the methodology. The point behind it is the pedagogy. Oftentimes you will hear people talk about being hip hop educators, and there's kind of two different versions of hip hop educators. I know, Louis, you could probably speak to this too. There are your hip hop educators who are like, we like rap, and we will play rap songs and talk to kids about stuff you hear in the rap songs, and that's cool. But the hip hop pedagogy is about taking the principles and ideas behind hip hop and using that to infuse a classroom. My methodology, how I do my hip hop pedagogy, is based in, if you're familiar with Howard Gardner, multiple intelligences, the idea that we learn in all these different ways. My hip hop pedagogy is based in all the hip hop elements are the ways that we express, and the ways that we express are the ways that we learn. So once we learn how we learn, we can learn anything. And you can see the hip hop elements in every young person, even in grown folks. You can see that in them. There are MCs, there are DJs, there are graph writers. Those graph writers are the shy kid that don't want to say nothing, don't want to come up to the front of the class, but they got it all written down and it's brilliant and it's in this amazing handwriting you can't hardly read. There are DJs who don't have DJ equipment. They may be photographers, they may be directors, directors, but their whole thing is organizing the event. They have that third eye that can see what's going on in a space and then curate it to make it something more beautiful than we could see with our naked eye. And once we get students to lean into this, they can learn anything. I started off talking about literacy and its connection to self-efficacy. Self-efficacy is the idea that you can get stuff done, that you can do anything. And we started moving in the financial direction. We'll talk about that more in a minute. I want to let Louis get a chance to do some rapping, but I started moving in the financial direction because I realized, one, as an indie artist, finances are always paramount to everything I'm trying to do. And two, when it comes to our students, especially our Black youth, you go into a spot and you're trying to teach them something about uplifting themselves or trying to learn about themselves. And the teachers are like, hey, they need to pass these regions. So first we had to get them past the regions. They had to have the Regent Busters. Then they had to have their stuff so they can go to college. Then they had to figure out what to do if college wasn't the move for them, but they still needed to start making bread right now.
So what are some examples of financial literacy that our seeds can learn?
Word. You know, I'll give one thing that's really easy that you can find on our website. If you go to pocketchange.com/personality, we have a test for your money personality. And this is something we put together to get folks to understand where their relationship is with money. Folks don't understand how much our relationship with money rules us. If y'all don't notice, I'm mixed, right? I'm light skinned. My dad is a white Jewish cat, came over on the boat, fleeing the Russians, Nazis, all that good stuff. And when my father...
Good look at you. Hang on. All right.
Right. So my father died when I was 10. And I didn't realize this really because it was only on the surface, but they didn't like the whole Black mom, Black family thing. So when I was 10 and my father died, they did everything they could to make sure that we didn't get any inheritance, that we had nothing to do with them. I may be related to them, but they're not related to me, if you know what I'm saying. So my entire youth, I had this terrible relationship with money. I was not only hustling to make sure that, you know, my mom would be able to take care of us and we'd be all right, but also all I saw in money was conflict, hate, pain, and rage. And when I turned 18 and went off on my own and was doing my thing, I moved up to New York from St. Croix, and I hated money. I didn't understand that I hated money, but anytime I got my hands on some money, I was extra generous. I was more generous than I needed to be. I would live in squalor while my peoples were living well, and I thought that that was the way things needed to be. And I didn't understand that this was my relationship with money that I'd built through my trauma. And when students can understand where their traumas come from and where their tendencies are, they can take action. I've been teaching this for more than 5 years now, and I still feel the trauma. I still feel those things in my body whenever I make purchases, whenever I try to save money, even when I come in front of smart folks like y'all to try to talk about this money, it's still within me. But the point about it is, and this is the financial resilience, if you understand what's going on with yourself, then you can make the actions that support the habits you're trying to build. Now, I know Louis is working on a curriculum that you're piloting right now that talks about habit building. You want to rap about that real quick?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm the co-curator, partnered up with an elder as well. Well, not really an elder, we 30 years apart. He's in his 50s as well. But we created a personal development curriculum, and really the focus is to transform our trauma into triumph. And how we do that really is breaking down the study of self in a way, right? So like if you see on my wall back here, all of those different sticky pads or whatnot, it's broken down into 10 different chapters, if you will. And what it is breaking down the human experiences, starting like since birth and pretty much analyzing how we grow up in this life and we get into different people, places, and things. And then we start to pay our attention in these areas and we invest our energy into things, and other sources invest energy into us, whether it's people, whether it's media and things like that. We could get very dysfunctional in a way, especially when we're in a toxic environment. And we believe that when a flower doesn't bloom, we fix the environment in which it grows, right? Not the flower. So that whole importance of studying self, right? Like Malcolm X said it again, I'm gonna quote him again. He said we need a self-determination program, a do-it-yourself program. It's already too late program. And I'm a living testimony. Like last year, I was homeless, and now I'm in my own crib with my name on the lease, and I'm paid up on the rent. You feel me? Ahead of time. And I can be a living testimony and say it was because I changed the way my mindset was. I changed the way my behavior was. I changed my relationship with money, and even how I define money, and even how I even look at that worth versus my worth. Like, no longer do I chase a bag. I am the bag. This mind is golden right here. Like, it's so many millions of dollars is floating up here, right? And it's like I already got a unlimited bank account with my direct source, my higher power. I already got an unlimited bank account. And I just tap in, right? Because we talk about credit. I put trust in myself, and I'm credible enough to go get what I need to get and cash in on these thoughts, you know, because they are golden. It's pure, and I think it's a mindset thing. So when I come with the money thing, I don't really break down the financial literacy talk in my work and everything, but I focus on the self and I focus on the mind. And most definitely, I believe if we could change the way we think, then we could change our circumstances, and we most definitely could find ourselves financially free through the holistic route, though. Because I do believe if you give money to somebody that's not there mentally, then they gonna fuck that shit off and they gonna waste it, right? So before we get to that point, we need to really heal ourselves. We need to know ourselves. And the whole N4 philosophy, new mindsets, that's about self-care. New media, that's about self-expression. New leadership, that's about self-confidence. And new narratives, that's about self-worth. And back to what I said, since birthright, you are worthy. And that's what we all about.
You're not wrong, you're not stupid, and you're not alone. And even what Louis is saying, the statistics back that up. I've been rocking with cats like NCRC and Prosperity Now that have the math to back up the stuff that we already anecdotally know. And not only is the racial wealth divide real, but all of these stereotypes that they have put on black folks, on brown folks, on native folks about the way that they do their things are completely untrue. And the stats back it up. When we talk about saving money and spending money, it has been shown that black people in America save more money than any other group in the country.
So let me ask you something. Tell me about this Hip Hop Fin Fest.
Yeah.
What exactly is it? How are you involving the seeds? What do you have them doing?
Sure. Yeah. So I'm gonna start us off, and Louis, you can talk about your involvement in a second. I started with spondulix.org. So this is a financial literacy based streaming channel that's going online. It's put together by these cats, Florida Prosperity Partnership. They are a finance capability, because that's their focus, is capability down in Florida. And they've been expanding nationally. They had a film festival where they had filmmakers from around the world make short films about financial literacy, not instructionals, but creative pieces. And they made these films, and they invited my wife and I. My wife is a financial planner. She has a business called Pockets Change, another business called Seed Change, which is group financial planning for people of color, and had us come through and break down the financial concepts that were going on in these films. We partnered with everyday people up in New York, some good party throwing folks, and the cats from Spondulix asked us if we could come and jam with them again, and this time make something about hip hop. Because when I came through and I taught at that, I spun some of the indie songs that I play on my podcast, not to be competing with podcasts, but my wife and I have a podcast.
No, we
play
other podcasts on here. What's the name of your podcast?
It's called Brunch and Budget, where we talk about personal finance and racial economic inclusion. And one point for all of my hip hoppers who are here and listening, we play indie rap songs that pertain to the subject matter we're talking about. I'm sorry, Lord Jamar, you are way too famous. We don't play your stuff on it because you know.
Yeah, you're gonna get flagged, right?
Yeah, I'm saying, right? So all indie cats that we're trying to push and promote the things that they're doing. So we chopped it up, and we were talking about putting on this concert. I think originally the idea was to have some more performers like Louis, who are grown and out there doing their thing. But as an educator, I'm always trying to find avenues for the youth to get on and to try their thing. So we put together a little contest where we invited students, high school students, ages 14 to 18. I think the polling closes, the submissions close today or tomorrow. And we asked them to write a song about what money means to them, about their understandings of personal finance. And if they have some issues or they want to know more about personal finance, at hiphopfinfest.com, you can go to a link that takes you to Pockets Change, where we have 5 lessons that are introductions to personal finance. And also, Hip Hop CU with Martha Diaz, she reached out to some hip hop legends and some industry people to put together some lessons about how to write a song, how to record a song, how to put this whole thing together. We also got beats made from students from around the country. So we got them to put together some beats. They can go in there, download, write your song, upload it to us, and if cats like it, we're going to put you on a panel of judges, and we have some legendary cats. I know Sister Digga's not here, but we have Bahamadia, one of my favorite MCs of all time, got a great song with her, who are going to be judging. I believe with Sway, from Sway, everything, Wake Up Show, back in the VI, we didn't have nothing but the Wake Up Show for hip hop. So we have cats like that who are going to be judging these works, and the winner is going to get cash prize, equipment. They're going to be flown down when it's safe down to Florida to perform at FPP's annual national conference. And because they got some peoples over at Disneyland, we got the little perk for them to go over, Disney World. I always be messing that part up, to go over to Disney World and do that thing. The point of it is actually to be the beginnings of a mentorship program where people who are finance professionals, people who are music professionals, people who are professionals can work with young folks and give them not only the inspiration, the breath, but can give them a little bit of knowledge and some connections so they can start building their careers.
Now, I want to just say real quick, you mentioned Bahamadia. The people that set this up had offered for Bahamadia to come on with you guys and, talk about this, her involvement with it. And I said, absolutely not. Bahamadia is too goddamn big to be coming on and just speaking of no. She needs her own little episode. Digger will not forgive me if I fucking brought her on here and she wasn't here. So I said no. Let's not bring Bahamadia yet. We're gonna bring her on for her own segment, y'all. So
that's what's up.
We would love to have Bahamadia, but not in that capacity. We want her in full Godcast MC capacity. Now I understand both of y'all are MCs. Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yes, sir.
Was I asked? Somebody said, "Can y'all do a freestyle or something like that?" Is that something that y'all want to do?
Yes.
Well, if anybody,
yeah, we could rhyme. Yeah, we could rime.
Everybody's rhymed on here in a minute. Since like J.R. Payne and fucking Mad Squabbles. I'm not trying to put pressure on you because those guys are really.
yeah, bars.
But I'm just saying. That's the last time I remember somebody. Well, no. Actually, we had some performances at the Black Lady Theater. Never mind. But since we've been doing it like this, StreamYard, it's been rhyming. So, if you'd like to, now we got to do acapella because this the latency and all that type of shit. I could play a beat, but I'm sure it would be off. The people would be like, "Oh, it sounds off" or whatever because of the latency. So we got to fix that. I don't know if it's iRig or whatever the fuck, but we're gonna figure out how to do freestyles with beats on here one day. But until we do that, it'll be some acapella shit. So if you got something, let me hear it.
Yeah, that sounds good. Yeah, Beauty Before Age, young brother, take the stage.
Yeah. I said, what are you worth an hour? Wonder what you would say when you train to take minimum wage in the mind of a slave. Forget how much you made. Tell me how much you could save or how much is invested in increasing through the days. Living in United States, you better save your assets, your priorities straight and maintain your assets. To access the wealth, they have to ask us for help. My accessibility been attracted to bag checks. Hard to have a good time when you're dealing with bad debt. Credibility low and now your name got a bad rep down. In other words, we earn what we learn and we ain't checking the bag, but we keeping the bag in check. We get 168 hours a week. Let's subtract 56 for them 8 hours of sleep. 112 left to put some food on the plate. Provide clothing and the shelter in the home that is safe. And then take a moment and rewind and realize that we still got 1 hour to clear our minds. And I rise and I shine all of the time. It's Louis Blaze on Lord Jamar's Godcast and we live.
Okay.
Get him.
That was light work. Like
Yeah, so we do an acapella, so this is not going to be off the brain, but I'm gonna kick a verse for y'all too. Credit was started with BS and rumors. Boomers build up the Zoomers, they make them authorized users. We're socialized to ostracize these maneuvers. It's tough to fight for the future and keep an eye on abusers. That's poor tax and more backs. The war on black banks from Freeman to Dodd-Frank. We're more than half tank. We give thanks and praise to the shanks from Snakes. Got GoFundMe and Reddit when people need to be saved. Look who gets to choose who's too big to fail. They're best friends with the ones who choose who go to jail. We converse through commissary. They check at our mail. It'd be hyperbole to call it beyond the pale. Credit scores wasn't even a thing till 89. Before that, they relied on prejudice and spies. A bunch of companies who competed until they didn't. American dreamed up a caste system for richness. None of us knows the formula or how they calculate it, but we give the spec from our brow for this evaluation. It's a score because it's a game. If you're in debt, you're getting played, but you're already getting played, so get in the game, okay?
Financial, you are gonna have a whole financial section of hip hop.
Yes, sir.
Yo, I think that's been one of the things. I don't know, Louis. You come. I know that you've rocked with some of my peoples like Nas over in Minnesota, and one of the things about MCing, right, is it's not just that you're a song maker. Like, you could make songs. I'm an old head. I've been doing this for nearly 20 years now, and I've made me some songs, but that's not the point of how I and why I MC. When I moved up to New York, I started working as a journalist. I started becoming an educator. I started hosting shows. The important thing that we do is empower the people in the ways that we know how. And we get in where we fit in. And the thing that I found is I can give folks knowledge. It's one of those, like, mixed race things too, is, white folks will tell me stuff that they don't tell other people. So I get to be that spook who sat by the door, the fly on the wall, and go back and talk to y'all. And one of the things I found is the game is not only rigged, but they do it backwards on us, where they make us ashamed, and they use art to make us ashamed of who we are. And one of the big things about finance that I found that's really important is to remind you of who you are. When we talk about things like in the past, what happened to us, when my mixed ass was sitting in the family barbecue before the white folks ostracized me, and my mom told me not to eat watermelon in front of them, and I didn't know why. I didn't understand until I did my history, where watermelon, the seed, the tool for our empowerment, after folks were freed from chattel slavery, that was the one tool that they could take to market. And they could make something. They could make a business out of what they were doing. And they used art. They used the minstrel shows. They used the newspapers. They used all the tools at their disposal to shame us. And folks think that negative white supremacy art is not good, but they do a good job. They did such a good job that 200 years later, I'm afraid to eat this tool for liberation in front of people. That's how they win. So we have to remind ourselves, again, like I was saying earlier, you're not stupid, you're not wrong, and you're not alone. When you remind yourself of yourself, you're going to be all right.
You know what kind of energy I kind of get off of you? You give me this like Juan Manuel Miranda type looking motherfucker. I think you got a Hamilton in you, motherfucker. I need to stick close to you.
Can I tell you that I've been writing hip hop theater plays since
I know you have
way all of them.
Manuel Miranda ass looking motherfuckers. I know you have. I could already tell. You sound like you sound motherfucker. I'm telling you, you might have some sort of hip hop Hamilton going on. I don't know. I be feeling vibes. I'm telling you.
I'm with it. I did write a play about a graffiti writer deaf graffiti writer who fell in love with a beatboxer. So, holler at me about that if you want to see that up on stage with an all black cast.
That's all right.
Timing is everything.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, good looking at, brother.
Yeah. Speaking of timing is everything, man. I just gotta say, just a month ago, I released a beautiful album. The name of it is Freedom Fighter Reloaded, and it truly is what I believe to be a soundtrack for the revolution. It embodies my experiences here in America as a young black male, and speaking about the injustices and the marginalization and the oppression, from everything. And I also incorporate different activists and leaders who are here, born and raised in Minneapolis, Minnesota, standing up for our communities and really out here doing the work, like not just talking about it, but actually doing it. And some very dope tracks are on there because they don't only talk about the struggles that we face with the system, but also the struggles that we face amongst ourselves. And that's, again, a way that I can intentionally use my abilities, my gift, through music, and provide a platform that can stimulate the mind, that can educate us, and that can empower us. And it's time for us to start looking in the mirror and going from this what I call a see me mentality, where we feel invisible and we just want to make noise, and we want attention, like we don't feel valued and treated for who we are, to an I see mentality of like being able to make it in spite of the barriers that exist, in spite of these problems that exist. But you see how valuable you are, you see how worthy you are, and know that you could change your situations if you are not happy with where you at. And that's what I stand for. So I just had to name drop that because this is amazing. Please go check out that album. It's available on all platforms. Freedom Fighter Reloaded. Freedom Fighter Reloaded.
Love that name.
Get him, brother. Yo, is that Ace Boogie from the BX that put that up there, asking for some books for the people?
I don't know, but let's give him some books for the people. Can you guys recommend 5 books for the people? I'm gonna say based on financial literacy.
We got you. I'm going to start you off with my man Devin Fergus with Land of the Fee. And he talks about the way that the Black middle class and middle class in general has been eroded, has to do with all the fees that have been propagated through the 70s, 80s from the Great Divergence and how that went down. So the second one I would say is Hitler's American Motto. When we talk about the Black Foundation, because we talk to all populations, including white folks, and one of my things I like to say is white supremacy don't care about white folks neither. So Hitler's American Motto talks about how the way that the Nazis got their entire game plan was by sending folks over to study Jim Crow and to take those things back. The saddest thing about all of that is the Nazis said that the Americans were more cruel than them. And mind you, I got skin in both sides of this game. They said that they would kill the Jews, but they wouldn't keep them around as pets like Americans did to Black people. So those are 2 of mine. Louis, if you want to throw in some in now.
It's crazy you shared 2. I went out there and grabbed 3 real quick. So 1, shout out to my man Tony Simmons. He at this high school for Culinary Arts. He gave me this book, The Business Model Generation, and that's really about deconstructing entrepreneurship and dive deeper to strategies and designs, you know, and learning how you can market a brand and think at scale, you know, and really amplify your business and what you want to do. Then another book I grabbed is one that changed my life. I really loved it. It's actually The Hip Hop Generation Guide to Success by Kevin Liles.
My boy Kev.
Make it happen. This story was super dope to me. And one thing that stood out and really sparked me was the University of Life that he spoke about, and how like we don't got to take the traditional route. Like I didn't go to college neither, but now I'm 23 and I'm creating change, like systems change, working with the government, you know, got a program going and really being an impact to my community, and out here even acting as a consultant for some of these people that are supposed to be taking care of our city, right? Because they need somebody like me with lived experience that can tell them on how to maneuver, you know, but doing that with eyes behind the back as well. And then also My Grandmother's Hands, I have to share this by a brother named Resma, and this is really talking about the trauma, the intergenerational trauma that exists, and how it transfers from generation to generation through the DNA and through the genetics, right? So when we understand this trauma and where it comes from and recognize how we get triggered, right? It also talks about ways to combat that, and the power of the breath and the power of song and hum and community, and how our ancestors was able to still vibrate with each other in spite of our difficulties. And I just think it's so important to understand that trauma that is not transformed is transferred. So once we could understand that, we have to address it, you know, and start
Oh, yeah.
Man, that's a good way to end off. Brothers, where can we get? Well, first of all, hang on, where's my banner? hiphopfinfest.com, everyone.
That's where you can go. That's where you can send your music. And also, the event's going to be going down on Spondulix on April 8th, where it's going to be live streamed. So come and check that out. You can donate some money to the cause. You can come and check it out and be a part of it. You can help put your name on. If you holler at us, you can get on the mentor list if you are grown. And if you are young people looking for mentors, you can get on our mentee list. And that's something that we're going to go in and pushing and moving out. As for my personal stuff with Pockets Change, that's pocketschange.com. You can also check us out. For my work, you can see me at museumofdeadwords.com. That's my last rap project. I spent a year researching internet comments to find words that don't work no more, and I made rap songs about how they died. It was a whole thing. That's a theater show. You can check that out. I'll send you, Jay. I did a whole quarantine version here in the spot, because you know how it is nowadays. You can't be bringing folks to what you're doing. So you can check all of those things there. Louis, where can they check you out?
Oh man, stop snoozing, G. Go Google me, Lewi with 2 E's. That is Louis Blaze, you feel me? And that's because I walk through the fire with no fear. I'm on louisblaze.com, and everything is at Louis Blaze, man. So if you just simply put that in any social media, go to the website, you will connect to me. Go follow the N4 Collective. That's also linked up to all my own websites, and that is the organization of the folks, the tribe that we out here impact and change, man. And that's where you can find me. Please go check out that album though, Freedom Fighter Reloaded. We got a message out.
Well, before we roll, can I brag about a thing real quick?
Go ahead.
So I'm not good at this, even though I'm an MC. I'm more of a, on the education side than the bigger myself up side. But I did something that I'm really proud of that I want to rap about, because this is something that we all have the ability to do in terms of changing things. I've been fighting for years to change the curriculum in New York City for how we teach our youth about words and about how we learn words. And I recently got the opportunity to help out with remedial phonics learning for high school students. If you ever have looked at those textbooks, they're outdated. To say the least. It says see, spot, run, go, spot, go. It's not relevant. It doesn't roll off the tongue to people. So what my peoples at the DOE reach out to me is to rewrite those lessons into rhymes and into poetry. And that was something that they let me do. I wrote over 40 poems for them, and they put them in the curriculum. It's going to be starting next semester, where people have relevant language that they're using, rhymes and poetry, just like Louis is talking about, the breath and the rhythm and how they give inspiration. And y'all know that inspiration literally means to breathe. And once we got that breath, we could take the next step.
Congratulations, brother.
Thank you.
We will breathe.
Congratulations to both of you, and congratulations to all my guests tonight for their accomplishments. Like we said, we're not really here to bash others. We're just here to lead by example. So I appreciate you guys joining us and adding on and doing what you do. Keep it going, y'all.
Nice. Peace and love.
Brother.
Peace, y'all. Thank you. Yes, my peoples. Great fucking show tonight. Great show tonight. Dr. Ma'at, I tried to send you an invite. But yeah, I don't know what happened. Yeah. Listen, I appreciate y'all for coming through. We've been doing the Patreon thing. We just interviewed Shannon Briggs last night. Great fucking interview. Yeah, that's gonna be a good one when we put that up on YouTube. But it's available right now for subscribers on Patreon. We're doing a lot of exclusive interviews on Patreon, but I wanted to do this one on YouTube just for the public at large. I think it's very important. The information that we shared tonight, a lot of inspirational things were said and information shared. So I appreciate y'all coming through. Once again, shit, if you want to donate to the show, you know what to do. Go to cash.me/$, you know what I mean. That's how we get it in. Once again, I'm Lord Jamar for the You Know What I Mean Godcast. Thanks to all my guests. And I'm going to leave you the way I came. Hey!